Folks, I'm Tom Vassal, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. You might be wondering and saying, Vassal, Board Game Breakfast is here. It's not even breakfast time. It's not even close to Monday. You're right, it has been delayed this week, although next week we should be back on schedule. That's because of Gen Con, humongous, big, giant convention that you might have heard of. We were there last week, and it really does take up a good chunk of our time. If you were there and came by the booth, thank you for coming by and saying hi to us. I really appreciate it. If you were there and came to our Dice Tower live show, which was our biggest show ever, I appreciate that. But I do want to issue an apology about that. And this is the kind of to clear things up because people are talking about it on the internet and everything. We did a live show there. We had a lot of exciting announcements. We had some fun stuff that we did. And at one point in the show, we had Alan Moon, designer of Ticket to Ride, come on board. And rather than talking about the maps, the new Ticket to Ride maps, which look really cool, by the way, he decided to do a comedy routine and end it with an extremely inappropriate joke that for the Dice Tower show itself. That sort of thing should not happen. I didn't know it was going to happen, but that doesn't excuse me. I am apologetic to you for that. It will not happen again. And if you're watching online and wondering what was happening, what's been cut out, that's what it is. So a lot of people have said that's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal to me. It's my show, my brand. I'm trying to build it in a specific way. And if you feel betrayed by that, if you came to the show, I'm really sorry. And I will try not to ever let that happen again. Dice Tower Cruise is coming up, of course. Lots and lots of tickets have sold over the past couple weeks. So if you're interested in that, check out dicetowercruise.com. It's the first week of December. We will be shutting down registration soon just because, you know, we need to start doing planning and things. Also, if you would like us to contact you and talk to you and answer questions personally, we're willing to do that. Just email us at dicetower@gmail.com. Let me know you'll do that, and I'll have Jason get in touch with you. Like if you're looking for a roommate or something along that line, or if you have a question about something, we'd love to help you out there. For conventions in September, I've already mentioned that I'll be going to Grand Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Me and Z Garcia will be there. But I'm also going to be at HowCon. This is in Halifax, and it's big convention, science fiction convention, but they're bringing in some gaming folk. Rodney Smith is coming in, but also, so am I. So I'm very excited about this. I've never been there. I hear it's a wonderful place. I don't know exactly what events and what things we'll be doing at the convention, but I'll announce those as time goes by. The Indiegogo promos should all be out at this point in time, or are being shipped as we speak here. So I know not everyone has them yet. That's just how mail works, of course. But you should be getting them. If you're in the U.S., you should have them by the end of this week. If you are overseas, add some more weeks onto it after that. So I know a lot of people are asking about the extra promos and things, but I'm going to hang on to those for now. We'll probably put them up on the website in October, mostly because I want to make sure that everybody has it, who we send them out to, that they get them. So I appreciate your patience with those. I really want to get them out faster, but they are on their way. Okay, also, Dice Tower itself. If you were at the live show, we announced this there. But for our audio show, which, by the way, if you never watched, you should give it a listen. Me and Eric Summer and a special third guest show up every other week where we talk about all sorts of things, games, do a top 10 list. It's a lot of fun. We've also, Eric and I have been doing another show, basically just him and me talking about games every other week. We're going to be moving that to video, so that will be showing up on this channel soon. I don't know when it's going to start. We're still working out some of the details, but Eric and I will be doing that there. So it will be live. We'll be talking about games, and then you can ask questions, and we'll be interacting with you guys live. Now, also, because Eric and I are stepping down from that podcast that we were doing every other week, Mandy Hutchinson and Suzanne Sheldon are going to be stepping up as full co-hosts of the Dice Tower. They're going to be doing a show. In fact, their first show posted this week already, so you can go give that a listen. Now, some people say, Vassal, why didn't you put this as a separate podcast? Because I did not want to. I wanted this to be on the main podcast. I thought it was important enough to hand over the microphone to these wonderful people of the biggest podcast out there. And I think that we're going to see some cool things happen because of this. They're both, Mandy and Suzanne, will be at Essen Spiel with me, Eric, Z, and Sam. They're full parts of the Dice Tower. We are really trying to change the Dice Tower and make it more interesting and more diverse. And I'm really excited about this change. And if you still like listening to me and Eric and our guest, well, we're still going to be doing that every other week. In fact, you'll see one of those posted next Tuesday. Okay, well, that is all the Dice Tower stuff. Let's get to industry news. Okay, well, there was a ton of news last week. In fact, it's probably not all showing up this week in the news thing, so you'll probably see some next Board Game Breakfast. The big news, of course, was Gen Con was last week. A lot of companies made announcements there. Gen Con itself has said that they had 207,979 turnstile attendance, and they had around 60,000 attendance total. Now, this is intriguing to me because they were very specific. They, oddly enough, did not give an exact number on unique attendance. They said that turnstile was up 4%. I was there. I could feel it. But there were a lot of single-day people there also. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering why they didn't release an exact number. So I figure it's about up the same as last year. Maybe it's even gone down, unique attendees, which I don't think is a big deal. Because I can tell you this, the attendees that were there to buy. They were definitely buying a lot of different things. Also, there was $26,000 given to charity. And the event itself brought in $73 million to Indianapolis. We'll talk more about this in Tom Thinks. The Diana Jones Award for Excellence in Gaming shockingly went to Gen Con, at Gen Con. Did anyone think one of the other guys had a chance? But all right. Mattel has announced a new escape room in a box, Werewolf Exposed. And this one can be used with Alexa. So I don't know. That sounds interesting. Asmodee Digital has announced a whole pile of new games that are coming out. In Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, but they've also announced Zombicide. These are coming out in 2018. Scythe, Terraforming Mars, Gloom, and Mealborns. Mealborns, I don't know who wants that one, but anyway. Also Catan Stories, which is like a text-based adventure game based on Catan. I know a lot of people are going to be really happy about Scythe and Terraforming Mars. I wonder how Zombicide will do without the miniatures. That's like one of the big draws to the game. WizKids has announced a new game, Favelas. This is a game in which you're building a neighborhood, but you got to deal with the association, changing their rules, a fickle neighborhood association, where I've heard about this before. Very colorful looking game though. Excited to see this one coming out. Restoration Games on our live show last week announced Fireball Island. I'm really excited about this. Fireball Island is really cool. Of course, the game itself was garbage, but the idea of the marbles rolling down. But Rob Daviau says the game itself will now be good, and it will still have marbles rolling down things. Very, very pleased about that. Speaking of marbles rolling down things, Pandasaurus also announced Coaster Park, in which you are auctioning off and buying parts of a roller coaster, and at the end of the game, you'll get points based on how far the marble rolls down the roller coaster, so you need to know some auctioning stuff and physics. Renegade Games announced Overlight. This is a big new RPG setting, which sounds really fascinating how it's all put together, but it's not just for RPGs. An RPG will be the first thing, but there will be board games showing up in this universe also. Fantasy Flight Games announced Star Wars Legions. This is a ground-based miniature combat game. They actually brought me in. I got a chance to take a look at it and mess around with it. The initial box is going to come with Darth Vader, some stormtroopers, and a couple speeder bikes, and then Luke Skywalker, some rebel gangs, troops, and an AT-RT, I think, a little thing. So you have all this stuff that comes in the base box. They're going to be fighting each other, and of course, they're going to be having wave after wave after wave. The miniatures are not the same size as Star Wars Imperial Assault, so I think they're slightly bigger or smaller, one of the two, I don't remember. But they do look really cool. It's a freeform miniatures games. They have little things to move your miniatures. Just like X-Wing does, you move like the leader of a group and then everyone else goes and has to be a certain distance away from them. The system seems very clean. It looks like it uses some of the same things from Rune Wars that just came out. I'm intrigued. I'm not a big miniatures guy, but this one does look fascinating to me. And of course, it's going to make them a gazillion dollars. Diversity, once again, another pun is coming out from the folks who made Brilliance. Necromunda is coming back from Games Workshop. Now, we thought that one of the games that they just released a few months ago was their redoing of Necromunda, but I guess not. Necromunda itself is coming back. This is a Warhammer 40k, but on very small basis where just a couple troopers running around. Stuffed Fables has been announced from Plaid Hat Games. This game looks phenomenal. It's about a bunch of toys who must go fight against evil. And these toys, they look like little toys. It's a big book with 100 missions. The book itself is also a map. I'm so excited about this one. Back to Fantasy Flight Games, they announced Civilization New Dawn, a new Civilization game. This one is not a replacement, I think, for the other Civilization, but just a new version. It looks like a faster version. It looks like a very quick game. This is coming out Q4. And Catalyst has a series of games. They got the license for Masters of Orion. Right now, the Hobby World made a Masters of Orion game, but from what I understand, they may or may not have the license to make more games, or even that game, I'm not sure. Catalyst definitely has that license, so we'll be seeing several games. They released one of them at Gen Con itself. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. Let's get to the Kickstarter news.
Happy breakfast, everybody! I just want to take a quick second to say thank you to everyone out there for your kind words and support for Mandy and me on our new podcasting adventure. It means a lot to us. All right, let's take a look at what's happening in our crowdfunding world today. Enchanters is a quick and engaging competitive card drafting game with a bit of player interaction. Using a sliding cost market, players will draft cards in the hopes of crafting strong artifacts that provide resources like gold or strength for battle. You'll fight off monsters when they attack, but the end game picks up as the enemies become more plentiful and stronger. Enchanters has a clever card combo system that allows players to customize their artifacts as they wish. Setup is fast, just shuffle up a few of the included decks and deal. And those decks all have different overarching strategies, allowing you to customize the gameplay even more. On top of that, the villages set actions and endgame scoring goals and change up between games, adding additional variability. Enchanters features bright fantasy art, and you can get a copy of the base game for a pledge of $25. Digraphs is an accessory tile set for Scrabble that adds 8 new double-letter tiles. Each of the digraphs can be used as its individual letter, or if you use it as the letter combo, you get a big bonus point pop. And like blank tiles, once the digraph is on the board, it retains that value. Using digraphs, you can increase the difficulty of the game by removing different standard letter tiles from the Scrabble set. Digraphs are made from laser-etched wood, and a portion of the profits from the project will go to the Frontier College Literacy Organization. You can get a set of digraphs for you or your Scrabble-loving friends for a pledge of $18 Canadian plus shipping. Braveguard is a light and light-hearted fantasy RPG designed to be playable by younger gamers. Each player chooses a unique hero and goes questing to defeat monsters, escape traps, and earn treasure. As you approach the outer borders, different areas have different encounters. Each encounter has 2 options to tackle it, and the player must choose how to solve the problem based on their character statistics and then flip the card to resolve that encounter. Players will acquire equipment and must manage their limited carrying capacity. A lot of the game relies on dice rolls combined with your character stats, whether it's combat or other quest challenges, and as you complete those quests, you'll gain glory or treasure. The art is diverse, colorful, and charming, and you can get a copy of Braveguard for a pledge of $54 plus shipping. And last but not least, a favorite party game among gamers, Wits and Wagers, has a new evolution on Kickstarter with Vegas Wits and Wagers. Already an award-winning game, Vegas Wits and Wagers goes to the next level both in components and in gameplay. For those of you unfamiliar with the basic game, it's a bit of a trivia game for people who don't know much trivia, because players all submit numerical answers and then bet on which answers they think are the closest to the actual answer. It's interactive and very fun. Vegas Wits and Wagers adds long shot bets, which let you bet on a player, which adds a little bit of bluffing because you could be lured in only to have the opponent you bet on scuffle the answer on purpose. Safe bets let you hedge on a range of the answers, and there are a bunch of new questions included. And this is a limited print run edition that includes a sizable neoprene playmat that lays out the betting spaces for all of the gameplay options. It has neoprene covers too that will cover up the unused spaces based on player count. Vegas Wits and Wagers requires Wits and Wagers Party Edition to play, and there are pledge levels for just the Vegas expansion or for the base game and expansion starting at $25 plus shipping. Oakley dokley, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous week.
Hello there, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, fresh back from a recent expedition to my local thrift store as part of my continuing quest to discover all those strange and bizarre little board games that seem to coalesce at these secondhand shops. But recently I've actually run into a problem. A funny thing has started happening more and more often during my trips to these bastions of donated merchandise. It seems that recently there has been more and more actual quote-unquote modern board games to find. For example, I recently came across a copy of Speak Out on one of my recent expeditions, and that really surprised me because even though, in my opinion, Speak Out is more of a novelty activity than a board game, it is a fairly recent one, having been published in 2016. And even though I passed up the opportunity to purchase and have the secondhand copy of this game that I found because no new diseases for me today, thank you, I did stumble onto something else during that thrifting trip. I found and purchased this copy of Star Wars Risk, published in 2015, which is also a surprisingly recent game to discover compared to my usual other local thrift store's board game fossil record. Oh, and other surprisingly not awful board games that I've recently discovered mixed in with the spittle-soaked chaff at my local thrift store include this copy of Carcassonne, which is actually in English, which can replace my German-only copy that I've had for a while, and this excellent abstract puzzly game Ingenious, which is actually a really good game. When I found these little gems, I just couldn't pass them up, and finding gems like these seems to be a trend that's happening more and more frequently as of late. And it makes me wonder if the board gaming hobby has reached a new milestone of sorts, where the industry has grown, evolved to the point where the chaff that gets donated is increasingly turning out to be trash that's another man's treasure, as opposed to just being trash that's also another man's trash. So here's the question for all of you thrifters out there watching. Have you also recently experienced this same increase in game quality at the thrift stores that you frequent? Or is this recent rash of unusually high quality, well, satisfactory quality games that I'm experiencing just an anomaly in my own area that you would suspect will soon run its course? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And also, let me know what recent pleasant surprises you've come across at your own local thrift stores. I would love to hear your stories of what other treasures may be starting to enter the secondhand board game food chain.
Okay, so for the Dice Tower this week, we've already posted a few things, but you'll notice there was not a lot of videos that came out this week, and there probably will not be many more. We're doing kind of a recuperation thing from Gen Con. We're setting up our studios. So you're going to see a few reviews maybe this week and such, maybe. I can't promise anything, but then we'll be back on full schedule next week and your stuff. And either way, if we don't have a lot of videos that one week, there certainly is a lot from previous weeks. You have plenty to go back and check out. So there's also the new podcast from Andy and Suzanne that went up Tuesday, and all of our other podcasts. Now, folks, we are part of the Dice Tower Network, and I mention this casually each week, but I do want to point out there's a lot of great shows that come out every week from different podcasts. There's, I think, 25 different podcasts in the Dice Tower Network. They all do a fantastic job. You can go to Dice Tower Network and just look at the latest podcasts that come out. We got podcasts from couples, groups of people, all female podcasts. There's all sorts of different things. Hopefully something for you. Some of our fantastic podcasts have gone away, like Flip the Table. But there are other ones, and they did a great job ending out there, and we'll miss them. But there are other podcasts that are still putting things out each week, so you can check all that out at Dicetowernetwork.com.
everyone, my name's Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of The Fox in the Forest. So The Fox in the Forest offers a unique trick-taking mechanism for only 2 players. So let me show you what makes it so different and why it actually works. In The Fox in the Forest, you'll have some scoring tokens, some reference cards for scoring, along with a deck of cards ranging from 1 through 11 of 3 different suits. After shuffling, you'll deal out 13 cards to each player. You'll have some cards left over, which will be your draw deck, and the first card on top will be flipped over, and that will be your decree card. So the leader is going to add a card into the center. It doesn't have to follow the decree card. It could be any card. The second player will look at their hand. If they have the same suit as the card that was just played, they will have to play one of those cards. The highest value between those 2 cards will then become the winner of that trick. If the second player doesn't have a suit of that same card played, then they can play any card from their hand. If they play a card that matches that decree suit, then they will win that trick. If they play a card that doesn't match either suits, then they lose and the other player will win that trick. The odd value cards in the deck will also have special actions which will actually change the game. Once players have played all the cards in hand, then they will figure out how many points they earned. So when you're scoring, you're not trying to be too greedy, but you also want to maintain the most amount of points, but kind of playing somewhere in between. So as you can see, the scoring mechanism is what really drives this game, because you don't want to be too greedy, so you kind of have to figure out how to control the tricks so you're not winning too many. And if you're trying to be as humble as possible, you'll also score a lot of points. So you can also plan to give your tricks away to the other player. And that system of trying to figure out how to take control and give control is what really makes this trick taker work for 2 players. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
2 brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
Jack!
Who are you looking for? Who? Jack?
Rose!
That guy?
Oh, that dude?
Rose,
He
over
will
here!
not stop screaming.
Hey dude, have you like seen the pool boy with like our margaritas? I mean, like, who's even driving this thing?
Right? Like, where's the captain at? Oh, dude, did you hear they're putting a wicked slip and slide on this thing?
Oh, what? Oh my god, this cruise has so many celebrities. Even like Billy Zane's here. I just want to let you know real quick, if you find a door to float on, it can probably support 2 people. So this is Titanic the game, a game in which we are racing to get to our lifeboats before the other players do. So we're going to start off in second class and work forward through first class and onward. So in second class, we have to gain a bunch of our personal effects, which will allow us to then go into first class. And once we get to first class, we have to go through all of these rooms in order, hoping that we don't have a setback which takes us back to second class. We go up here to the bow and we either go into the starboard or port lifeboats and we win. There's things like gossip cards which allow us to gain and lose money. That is the game. So that was Titanic the game.
Here's the thing. This game sucks.
Shocker.
But we opened the board. It's this really, really long board. It's cool looking.
Yeah.
It looks very intricate. I was like, wow, this actually might be like an actual game. It wasn't.
It's super random in terms of like, you get a life vest and you just like lose your life vest.
It literally got to the point where I ran out of money. And if you run out of money, you're out of the game.
The only thing that's like awesome to me but also terrifying is there's these bellhop cards which basically allow you to ignore the bad effects on the board. Yeah. So basically you just need to have enough human sacrifices in order to get to your lifeboat. I was just like, bye Leonard, bye Glenn, bye Stuart.
He couldn't even get to a lifeboat. He just lashed a couple bellhops together and just rode them out like a couple of sea turtles.
Super comfortable.
Check us out on all forms of social media. I guess we should probably get off this sinking ship of a segment.
Until next time, we'll see you at the thrift store.
En tack så er Hami.
Okej.
on Time to Learn, we're going to play the beautiful Santorini. Santorini is a game for 2 to 4 players published by Roxley Games. In Santorini, players become Greek gods that will direct their workers to build their buildings level by level until they can climb up to the top. Buildings have 3 levels and a dome. Players are able to build anywhere around the workers.
So once a player built a level, the next player can either move to the top of that level or can build the next level. Now it's important to remember that players can only go up 1 level at a time. Like if this building was 2 level like this player cannot go up there. Unless they have one of the god cards that will give you some special power, let you jump 2 things, you know, do a bunch of different things. If that's not the case, you can only come from here and then from here to here. So a player can build a dome on the 3rd level, stopping the other works from climbing in there. Something to do that they can't stand on round surface. So the game will proceed with players taking 1 action per turn, and the first player to have their workers on the terrace on top of the 3rd level wins the game.
I really love this game. Like all the models and the 3D is really awesome. I love how they made the boards be set up, and it's just really cool to see all this drawings and stuff.
You see, for me, this is unnecessary. I know that you like this game because of the components and design, but I think that's a good thing. I mean, it helps. It introduces her to, you know, games like that, so I'm fine with it. I could have this board being flat to the ground, but it's cool. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
Alright, so approved?
Approved.
Alright, I see you guys next time.
See you around the table. Bye.
So Gen Con, man, whew, it was busy. Now the crowds were there, and like I said at the beginning of the show, they were there to spend money. So many, I mean, every publisher I talked to said that it was a great year for them. I mean, people were in with their wallets out, just buying stuff right and left. There was rushes on many booths. You know, I'd wondered if there would be like a hits thing at the con, and, you know, what would people be running for? But people were running in different directions. Now, for sure, the biggest news, the biggest surprise of the con was the fact that Twilight Imperium 4th edition was there. Not only had it been announced a few days earlier, but people went in and saw it. So that was an easy sellout. Not for everybody, of course, but for people who like the original system, that's a game that they're going to be wanting to play. And it's one of the few games I had a chance to play at the convention, and we'll be reviewing that soon enough. Probably after that, there was Clank in Space from Renegade Games. So like I said at the beginning, they kind of did this stealth thing. And they had talked to me at Origins about this and said, maybe we can review this and it will go up the same day at the convention. I said, sure, that'd be fun for me. I didn't realize all the other reviewers were also having it at the same time, and they almost hyped it too much, right? Because there was a big backlash against the hype that came out last week on the internet. That backlash did not seem to go to Gen Con, though, because the game sold out like this every single day. And it is a really good game, so whatever. The hype is real. Photosynthesis was also hot. I mean, I think they had 600 copies. They were all gone viral. The Dice Tower Essentials game seemed to be pretty hot. It sold out, so they brought in extra copies. And so did the Sheriff of Nottingham expansion, which had 500 copies and sold out first day. These are all well and good, and, you know, it's exciting to see that. But there was just a lot of things that were very hot. The Dragonfire was the new cooperative deck building game from Catalyst. I saw a lot of people going after that. Wasteland Express from Pandasaurus. The Too Many Bones booth seemed to be really pumped, and a lot of people going there. The Expanse sold out, but of course there was, I think, only like 100 copies of that. Codenames Duet was going like crazy in the CGE room. They even, another surprise of the convention was that there was some Rising Sun copies that came in. These, I believe, were something about charity. They were raffled off or something for charity, or people who played them got them. I never actually saw a copy of, I think I saw one out of the corner of my eye, but I was like, oh, I want that, but it went to somebody else. So anyway, a lot of Rising Sun copies were there, and people were not expecting that to be out so early. Restoration Games had a really small booth, but it was insane. They were being just overwhelmed, mostly from people wanting those 3 new games that have come out from them. Magic Maze was doing phenomenal for a game that was nominated for Spiel des Jahres but didn't win. That game was going crazy. Of course, so was Exit, the game that did win. I know Terraforming Mars sold out. I mean, there were just sellouts everywhere. If you came in Sunday looking for games, there was plenty of games, but there was also probably 30 titles that were no longer at the convention. Fate of the Elder Gods was a hot game from Greater Than Games. There was just a lot of really, really popular games. And people were playing and having a great time. One of the neatest things they did this year at Gen Con was they opened up the stadium. You could walk into the floor of the stadium. So I went over there and just went, and you like see the stands all around you, and there's people down there playing. It was actually the quietest place to play because of how big the stadium is. The noise levels weren't so bad. And it was just neat. And in the very middle, they had like this museum for Gen Con history. So 50 years Gen Con history. And you could see like letters that were written and programs from old Gen Cons, old versions of games, the original Cosmic Encounter, all the Moxes and the Black Lotus from Magic the Gathering were there. It was really neat to see all this stuff all the way up to modern times. Had a great time going over there, and I wish I could have been there more. If I was playing games, that's where the game library was, that would be a good place to go and check things out, and I hope they continue to do this. I know they had a They Might Be Giants concert, which was very well attended. Our own show, a lot of people came. People were just really excited. So while the numbers, I don't know if the total unique were down or up, but every day was extremely busy. The only day where I said, it's not quite as busy was the last hour on Sunday. Other than that, it was busy and jam-packed the whole time. It's a good thing that it was closed. They definitely did not let you forget that. On every door was badges are sold out, big signs, badges are sold out. But as always, the people in the surrounding area were super nice to us, from the hotels to the restaurants. It's one of the best cities for treating people nicely that I've been to, and had a really great time, and just so many cool games came out. We have come home with so many games. I'm just really pumped to play a lot of these games and excited about that. Gen Con was a really neat convention. I'm always glad when it's over because it is exhausting, but I do appreciate each and every one of you who stopped by the booth, or when I was walking through the hall, stopped me or came to the show, and I hope that you had a great time, and I hope that many of you we will see next year, or maybe at another convention in the future. Whew. All right, it's over though. It's time to go into the rest of the year, but let's finish the rest of this show.
Hey everyone, it's
lunchtime! So today we're taking a look at the game Honshu by Kali Malmyoha. It plays in about 30 minutes for 2 to 5 players. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Published by Renegade Games.
So in Honshu, players are each building their city districts and scoring for different features in their city, such as forests, towns, production and factory tiles, and even lakes.
So what I like about this game is there's so many different things to score, but you have to really be careful with your placement. Placing, you can't place over lake tiles, but you can place over your cities, but then you're not going to have longest city if you don't just put them in just the right spots.
I do like the fact that you can get resources in the game, which you can later trade in to, I think you trade them in to get, to switch first place.
Be able to pick first.
Right, to be first player. So I thought that was really interesting for me, and didn't take advantage of it as much as I should have, but...
Of course, if you use those resources to take first place, then you don't have them to score points at the end of the game. So it's a trade-off. You have to decide every time if you're going to go that way or not.
Right.
I really enjoy this game. I like the way the tiles, the cards stack one over the other. You have to overlay at least one of the squares, or possibly multiple, but you can never overlay the lakes, as Tracy said. It provides a lot of strategic choices for you to make, and the game plays pretty quick.
It does. I'm surprised at how quick it plays, despite the fact that it has quite a bit of strategy.
So, if we want something a little bit more intense, but easy to teach, easy to pick up, this is definitely a good one. Yeah, I know you guys really love this one.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely something that'll be coming back to the table, and I think that's it for now. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. The day that I'm filming this is Saturday of the week of Gen Con. I've just had 2 amazing days at this convention, and I'm looking forward to 2 more. I just wanted to, if it's okay, take a little bit of time this week and do something different. Instead of talking about solo games or a particular mechanic, I really wanted to express gratitude. Gratitude to Tom Vassell and Dice Tower for the amazing platform that has been provided to me to talk about solo gaming with all of you. And gratitude to you for the people that have had a chance to come up and talk to me at conventions, take the time to tell me about their thoughts on the segments, talk about solo gaming, ask me questions, make comments, give encouragement and advice. It has been so overwhelmingly wonderful, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And also, gratitude to the people who have watched my YouTube playthrough videos and have gone to the social media accounts and made comments and asked questions and, again, advice, encouragement. It's been overwhelming and so appreciated. So, in that spirit, if there's anything that you'd like to see me cover on these Board Game Breakfast segments, if there's any aspect of solo gaming or just gaming in general that you'd like to see me talk about, please let me know in the comments below. As with all comments and questions, I do my best to respond to them and take them seriously, and if I can make these happen, I will absolutely try to do so. So again, as always, thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
All right, what's on the shelf this week? Well, we have a couple of deck builders here. We have Clank, a deck building adventure, and Vikings Gone Wild, both of which I like quite a bit. I actually have Clank in space, but that's currently on another shelf. I might rearrange them to put them on the same shelf at some point. Abyss, this is a great game that came out with 5 different covers. A lot of people don't talk about it or play it much these days, but I still like it. It has push your luck elements, beautiful, gorgeous artwork, just a really well put together game. And Robinson Crusoe. Everyone's, of course, is talking about First Martians now and how well that's doing, but Robinson Crusoe, still the original game. This is the 2nd edition, fits on the shelf nicer. Over here we have Dice Forge, which as soon as I played it, I knew I wanted to put in my collection, a game where you build dice. I love that. And then a couple Dice Towers. This is a 3D printed one here, which apparently now I only have the top of. And this here is from 2014, our Kickstarter from way back then. I keep this one for nostalgic purposes, but I also like the red and gray color. And that's what's on the shelf this week.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about board games for children of around 5 and under. And today, we're going to talk about this game. What is it, Cora?
Is a cooperative press your luck dice rolling game where the players are a family of mice trying to steal as much food as possible from a pantry before the cat captures them. On your turn you roll 3 dice and then put at least one of them on a matching square of a piece of food. The player then's got the choice of ending their turn there or pushing on and trying to fill more squares in. If they do, however, they run the risk of rolling an X or having nowhere else to put their dice, which means they'd have to undo all they've done and move the cat one space closer to catching them. However, if they end their turn without filling up all the squares of at least one piece of food, then the cat will move on too. There's actually quite a lot of strategies to this game, and I think that it's probably at the upper end of our 5 and under limit. Although, I suppose you could just let younger kids just roll the dice, and then let the adult make all the decisions. Like all good co-ops, this game can get very exciting at times, and there can be some great moments of tension within it.
Cheese!
Boom!
We won!
So, Cora, what do you think about
I like it because really the game is kind of a tricky game, but it's an exciting game too.
It's really tricky, isn't it? It's a really good game for playing with adults as well, to be honest. It's got 2 sides of the board. One's a hard side and one's an easier side. We did the easier side.
Yeah, because I'm only 5 1/4.
She's only 5 1/4. But we only just won, didn't we, Cora?
Yeah.
It was right on the last roll. It was very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we give 2 mouse nibbling thumbs up.
Within the hobby of board gaming, my shelf behind me has some pretty cool games on it. To most, it's just a shelf of not books. But to some, ethnos, huh? That's pretty cool. And, you know I'm not cool. I am aware. The thing is, even within the hobby, there are some games that just aren't cool. I've got some games that I like that I would be nervous talking to with a seasoned pro. But I'm here today to tell you that two of my favourite games of all time are Mexican Train Dominoes and Gin Rummy. Yeah, I said it, and I don't care. Look, if you love Monopoly or Uno or Phase 10 or Machikoru, lot of people hating on Machikoru. Well, then I think you should be proud of it. Do I want to play Catan with you? Absolutely not. But if you love Catan, then I think you shouldn't be ashamed to show it. Some games are hot for a while, some games are hot for a season, but if a game truly touches your heart, well then that's the highest of praise. I just think we could all benefit from there being a little less snobbery within the hobby. And to reiterate, I do not want to play Catan with you. At all. Danke.
And that's it from the Dice Tower for Board Game Breakfast. We'll be back on schedule next week. No Q&A today, and maybe there'll be one later this week. Again, like I said, I don't know. There's a lot of different things going on, but I'm glad you took time to watch this show. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.